Hello Cobra Kai fans, welcome back to the dojo where mercy is not tolerated. So the official synopsis for Season 6 Part 3 has been released by Netflix Media Center on their website, and I am about to reveal what it says and what it could mean for the plot of the next installment. Before we begin, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and enable all notifications. So let us begin. Here's what the synopsis says. The finale comes in 2025. After a shocking result in the Sekai Taikai, Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai must reckon with their pasts while facing an uncertain future both on and off the mat. Almost 40 years after the events of All Valley Tournament, it's all been leading to this. This summarizes the general plot of the show's upcoming Season 6 Part 3. Obviously, it reveals that following the events of Season 6 Part 2, which witnessed the tournament and its devastating end, which resulted in the death of a Cobra Kai captain, Kwon, we will soon see how both the Miyagi-Dos and the Cobra Kai deal with the consequences of their unending rivalry that was birthed in 1984. In particular, we could see Johnny, who nearly fell victim to Kreese's madness in the 1980s, confront his former sensei, after witnessing the same sensei's madness lead to the death of a teenager. To be honest, Johnny from 1984 shares the same dynamic as Kwon. Chris was about to lead Johnny into hell, but Mr. Miyagi intervened and reluctantly saved him. It is highly likely that Johnny will confront Chris in the upcoming Part 3 for leading Kwon into his dark philosophy, which he once lured Johnny into, but Kwon succumbed to it, tarnishing Cobra Kai's name and the Sekai Taikai as a whole. John Chris, on the other hand, has witnessed his own string of terrorizing kids, but by failing to achieve his goals of winning, he failed Johnny and now Kwon. I believe Chris, like any other human, will eventually realize that his philosophy is a disaster that must be changed once and for all. This could create an opportunity for Chris to reunite with Johnny like never before, and they could come to terms with forgiving each other while hoping for a bright future. However, as the synopsis states, the future of our protagonist is undoubtedly uncertain. For example, Chris could face consequences for Kwon's death because it is entirely his fault. It is difficult to predict how Master Kim Sun-young will react to his student's death and the shame on the Cobra Kai team. Chris will eventually be redeemed, but his immediate future remains uncertain. Johnny's fate is also unknown, but we know that the upcoming installment will be a payoff for him. He has made no mistakes this time, but trouble will find him whether he wants it or not. However, Johnny's character will be thoroughly satisfied in the end. Speaking of the future, Daniel LaRusso is one of those characters whose future is uncertain. Kwon's death should not have had a greater impact on him than on others, but when you consider it, it did. For Daniel, the event provided a new insight into how something as simple as a karate tournament with bitter rivals can have irreversible consequences. The death of Kwon, combined with the revelations of Mr. Miyagi killing his opponent earlier in the years, could permanently alter Daniel's perspective on karate. It could also demonstrate that Mr. Miyagi was correct about the teaching and application of karate, such as in tournaments. Miyagi apparently used to show no mercy to his opponents until he accidentally killed one during the Sekai Taikai in front of an audience. This will serve as another lesson for Daniel, and we may see him take a different path in the future, incorporating new measures into his philosophy. However, we know that Daniel will continue to teach karate because he will appear in the upcoming Karate Kid Legends film, which takes place 3 years after the events of Cobra Kai. But, as I mentioned in previous videos, we can expect Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do to coexist in the future, and they may even share some of their philosophies in their karate teachings. For the younger characters, we can expect to see them out in the world, growing and experiencing new things. Overall, this Part 3 will reveal whether or not the characters will succeed in achieving their goals, as well as how this will affect their future lives. What are your thoughts on the upcoming installment? Do you think Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai will all be standing in the end, or will one of them finally collapse? Drop a comment below and let us continue the conversation. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all a prosperous new year. Stay badass.